I remember when this girl ended up coming and sitting on my lap as I was dressed as Santa Claus. I remember she ends up moving her peach a bit to the left and the right as she's sitting on my lap. And at that moment, I ended up getting bricked. No joke, I was bricked to the max and I had to stand up and say, ho, 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 I have to quickly go to the bathroom. And I went to the bathroom. What I did in there definitely got me on the naughty list. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane, but I gotta say, embarrassing story. So this story all takes place back in my grade 12 year. And in grade 12, I gotta say, it was definitely one of the most stressful years of my life. From making sure I had to pass all my classes to making sure that I was even able to graduate. But there was one thing that I really hated about grade 12 that I really never understood why we needed it, but it was called participation hours. And for all those people that don't know what that is and getting into grade 12, basically, it's when you have to do volunteer hours at certain things that basically make you look like you're able to handle doing work. And in my school, there was a shortcut where you could actually get these participation hours really easily. And that was joining the leadership club. Now, being a leadership student in my school was a really big deal to a lot of grade 12s because it would get you participation hours for just doing simple stuff in the school, like decorating it for events, to planning events, and doing little bits of here and there of charity work that you would probably do if you were a prisoner. Which, to be fair, high school is basically a prison. But going on with the story, I remember I ended up signing up for leadership and it was around December at this time. And when I ended up joining leadership, I just wanted to do whatever I could just to get out of the participation hours so I could just graduate and move on. I already ended up suffering through all the hard classes the semester before, so this semester was just making sure I had everything finalized to get my dogwood and graduate. And I remember when I joined leadership, a girl ends up walking up to me saying, "Oh, hey Bubba, do you want to help decorate for the winter dance?" Yeah, sure. What can I do? Okay, well, we have a large budget, so we're going to be spending a lot of it on decorating the gymnasium and the entire school. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could help decorate. Okay, perfect. Here, follow me. At that moment, me and this girl, we ended up going to the mall and we ended up shopping with the school that the money gave the leadership students to decorate the school. And when we got back, we ended up spending a lot of money. And by a lot, I mean a lot of money. To the point where I'm not going to lie, it was more than what I had in my bank account. But as we got back to the school and me and like 30 other leadership students were decorating the entire school, I remember our principal ends up walking in, checking on our progress. And as he's looking around at our progress, he looks at me and says, "Wow, you guys did fantastic. The school looks great. I'm happy you like it," is what I said to him. And then afterwards, I remember my principal walks up to a leadership girl that was like basically the head of our leadership crew and says to her, "So I was just wondering, where's the Santa gonna be?" "What do you mean by Santa?" "Well, you know, obviously students want to take photos with Santa. It's a big deal." "Oh, well, like I didn't hire a Santa." "Well, it was in the form I gave you." I remember this girl ended up going through the papers as fast as possible to see what part was it where it said we needed a Santa. And when she saw it, I remember she ends up basically slapping her hand on her head, absolutely upset at herself. And she started stressing out like crazy because she and I both knew that we spent a lot of the budget that the school gave us on decorations instead of hiring a Santa. But instead of the girl saying anything about us not having enough in the budget or anything to the principal that we didn't have anything, she just ends up saying, "Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely get it planned. I just totally forgot about it, but I'll make sure it happens." "Okay, good. Those grade 9s love Santa," is what he says, and he walks away. At that moment, I walk up to her and I say, "Yo, we don't have a Santa." What do you mean? Like, how are we going to take care of this?" "Bubba, I need you to do me a huge favor." "What do you mean?" "Bubba, listen, trust me on this, okay? If you dress up as Santa for the winter formal just for like a couple hours, I promise you, I will double all your participation hours." At that moment, I started to think in my head that if I did this, I would basically be done with my participation hours and that I would be home free just to go and graduate. So I ended up becoming the sacrificial lamb and basically ended up being chosen to dress up as Santa for the winter formal. Yeah, kind of insane, I know, but at the same time, I mean, I don't really care, okay? I just wanted to graduate. So I remember as the days go on and the winter formal was coming up, slowly, the rumor started to go around that Santa was going to be at the winter formal. And so many people were excited, and one thing was for sure, and I was super surprised about this, by the way, was that a lot of girls in my school were super excited for Santa to be going. I don't know why, but apparently it was like a cool trend to take a photo with Santa. Don't understand it, but it was a thing in my school that I don't really want to get into. But going on with the story, I remember when it was the day of the winter formal, I ended up showing up in my suit and my date, but my date, I ended up sending her off to go do stuff as I secretly went to the school change room and met up with the leadership leader. She ends up looking at me saying, "Okay, Bubba, here, I got your Santa suit right here. Just change and yeah, you'll be good to go." And at that moment, I remember looking at her saying, "Honestly, listen, as much as I want to do this, I don't know if I can." "What, Bubba, please? I promised you that I would double your participation hours." "Yeah, I know, but like I have a date in there and like I'm trying to like, you know, bag her and take her home and go to the Devil's Tango. And this whole Santa thing is probably just gonna ruin it for me. Bubba, please. And at that moment, when she started saying please, she came up to me really close and she ended up basically touching my thigh, which was kind of the symbol of like, yo, if you do this, I'll do the Devil's Tango with you. And I remember at that moment, I just ended up saying sure, and I ended up putting that Santa costume on, and I went out there. When I got out there, I remember everyone started freaking out, cheering and stuff, and it was actually really cool. I felt like a celebrity at that time. And I ended up sitting on my chair saying, ho, 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 let's take some photos. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of people come over and sit on my lap. I had a lot of guys also come over and just take normal photos with me, but most of the girls would end up sitting on my lap. And I remember there was one girl, and this girl was actually, funny enough, one of the hottest girls in my school, and she was like a pro cheerleader. She ends up coming up to me and sitting on my lap directly. Like, no joke, she sits like literally right on my eggplant, to the point where I remember I ended up getting bricked. I got so bricked to the point where I remember I had to push her off me and said to her, ho, 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 Santa has to go to the bathroom now, you know? And I basically ended up running to the bathroom, and I ended up beating the life out of my eggplant. YouTube, don't demonetize this video. I know this sounds super out of pocket, but you gotta understand, this was the season, okay? Like, it was actually killing me. But I remember after I finished and did the Devil's Cream inside the change room, I ended up running back to the seat, sitting down, and once again, I took more photos. But once again, since there were more attractive girls in my school that I'd take photos with, I ended up getting bricked once again. I think I repeated this cycle like 3 to 5 times, to the point where my leadership leader, which was the girl that made me dress as Santa in the first place, ends up walking in saying, Bubba, why do you keep running in here? What's wrong? What are you forgetting? It's kind of hard to explain. Well, hurry up and explain. I want to know what's going on. Well, you see, I kind of like get bricked really easily. Bubba, are you serious right now? Well, just get over it. It's not that easy is what I said. And she ended up helping me out, and me and her ended up doing the Devil's Tango in the change room while I was dressed as Santa. I gotta say, this story is definitely all over the place, but it was definitely one of the holidays that I'll never forget. And also, that winter formal was outstanding. Not because my eggplant was standing, but because the whole thing was just a whole show that I just really want to forget. But honestly, if you guys don't believe this story is real, then follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one. And also, what do you want for Christmas? Peace out, guys.